man, I'm on the chase now. Leave me on my own, I got a chance to break now.
Welcome back to Grnd. I'm your host, Mike. On today's episode, we have a laborer and part-time photographer. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Thanks, Flex, for having me in your podcast, bro. I'm a big fan. I really like watching your podcast. So I am born and raised in Orange County. I'm a part-time photographer / laborer on different trades. And, yeah, pretty much.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you, bro. So, in high school, was there any particular field or direction you were trying to go?
In high school, bro, I'm going to be honest. I had different... when you're a kid, bro, you have so much different shit. I wanted to be a baseball player, doing all kinds of fucking different shit. And actually, I wanted to be a baseball player. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wanted to be a baseball player. I played baseball ever since I was a little kid. Along with being an altar boy. I used to be an altar boy. I was a good kid back then. I also wanted to help people. There's this big thing where I've always wanted to help people. Yeah, I was an altar boy. I used to be an altar boy back when I was younger. I always wanted to help people. Eventually, I just ended up going a different route. But throughout being an altar boy, I was playing baseball. I played baseball ever since I was a little kid. I was really good at it. Not just talking out of my ass. I was really, really good at it. And eventually, things happen throughout growing up. Things happen, parents fighting each other and just family drama. Eventually just ended up being like, I don't want to play baseball no more, My mom was like, you got to play baseball. So I used to play baseball for a park out in Orange County called Salvador Park. And then my mom eventually was like, I don't want you to play here no more. I want you to go play somewhere else, which was like a fancier baseball field, better baseball league. So I went to go play over there, and that's where it just went to shit.
All fell apart.
It all fell apart. I didn't want to help nobody anymore. I didn't want to help people at all. I was just like, and then going through like family drama, bro, it was just like, damn, what do I want to do now, Like, even as a kid, I've always thought like that. I was always mature for my age, I guess you can say. And then once I went to high school, it was a whole different direction, bro. It was, didn't care about school that much, alcohol, all that played a part in it. Then eventually ended up just, I was always working too. My mom used to own a house cleaning business. Mm-hmm. So I'd go work with her to make money, and then I'd go spend that money on beer, during high school.
Yeah, it's the cycle.
And then eventually, what happened after high school? Yeah, I wasn't a good kid I wasn't paying attention in class academically. So then eventually, at one point, my parents, we lost our house. They had bought a house out in Anaheim. I moved from Santa Ana, California. I was born and raised in Santa Ana. Moved from Santa Ana to Anaheim because me and my bro were kind of like going into like bad shit. My mom was like, we got to get these kids out. So I was like, I don't want to lose my friends. And my mom was like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So we got to get out of Anaheim. We got to get out of Santa Ana, go to Anaheim. So we moved, lost all my friends that I had up back in Santa Ana, and then eventually made new friends in Anaheim. That's where I ended up getting back in old stuff, like
doing the same thing you were doing
before.
The
same thing, right? But crazy, bro. Like, it's crazy because when I was raised in Santa Ana, I don't know what it is, but I say this to, like, every time I tell a story to somebody, like, the maturity level in Santa Ana compared to Anaheim, it's like way higher than usual. Like, for example, like trip out, bro. When I moved to Anaheim, so the grades are different. Like, Anaheim is I believe it's first grade through sixth grade, right? So Santa Ana is, I think it's sixth through eighth grade, junior high, right? So when I went to Anaheim, I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to go to a different junior high. So we go and we sign up my brother with my dad. And we go and we're like, oh, we're going to sign him up too, right? Which is me. And then we're signing up. And then the counselor or whoever's up in the front office, they're like, wait, what grade is he in? And my dad's like, oh, he's in sixth grade. He's like, oh, you can't sign him up here. And my dad's like, why? And the lady's like, he has to go to that school over there across the street. And then I look and it says the name of the school, which is Palm Lane Elementary. And I look at the counselor and I'm like, what? I have to go back to elementary? I was like, no way. Like, bro, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I obviously at the time I was mad. Like, we're walking and I'm like, I have to go back to elementary. And my dad and brother are laughing, bro. So that happened, you know. Things happened throughout. Went to Anaheim, made new friends. And I've always thought, like, baseball was still, like, in my head at the time, you know. Eventually I started skating when I moved to Anaheim. I was a skater. And I was becoming real good, bro. I'm talking about, like, jumping off 12 stairs, doing all that, grinding on rails. And, well, sometimes still go to church, you know, just because I grew up with it and wanted to have still, like, some, you know, like some kind of connection, peace, faith, you know what I mean? So I would go and I would always still, like, I want to help people. Like, I've always did as a young kid, bro. Like, I would go and give communion to, my mom would go and give communion to the disabled people. So I would go with her.
Oh, so, like, they wouldn't be able to make it to church or something?
Yeah, so, like, you know, or tragic shit would happen, or tragic stuff would happen to certain people, and they couldn't go to church anymore, but they wanted the communion. So we would go to their house, and we would give them the communion. And believe it or not, I would get like this joy out of doing it. And it was always like continuous. I'll go with my mom. I'll be like, I won't go to church with you, but I'll go.
But I'll go help you.
I'll go help you and do that. So they gave me this big like aspect in life, bro. Like, it gave me like a reality check, you know, despite the other bad things that I had to encounter for me to get a reality check and be like, you know what, you got to go through the straight path. During that time, this is where kind of photography comes in. I had a camera. I was probably like 11. I had a camera and had all my friends that would skate. And I'll pull up. I was always the dude with the camera.
Yeah.
Like, let's go record some stuff, you know? And I wish I would have saved that camera because there's so much good footage in there. You know, me like skating and stuff, friends. And I always had it. My brother at the time he was always like home sheltered, so he was always inside his house. Would never come out, antisocial. And he was always on the computer because he's good. He's really good to this day at computers. And if I want to edit a video, he'll do it within like a minute, and I'm there stuck like 2 hours, like trying to edit, you know, it's hard. So photography, that's when I got a thing for photography, bro. Like, I always had a video camera along with like a camera, and I would just snap random pictures. And then I'll just go to work, like, you know, my first job was at a McDonald's.
Okay.
Started working at McDonald's. Had a bunch of friends from the school that I went to, the high school, that would work there. So it was good times. Then from there, I was like, I need to move up. Like, I always had like, I needed something better.
Yeah.
I already stepped my foot in this place. Now I got to find something better. So from there, I was like, oh, I'm going to go apply at that Italian place. A lot of people go there. So I went to apply there, and they're like, yeah, bro, we'll give you a job. And then I was like, okay, cool. Started working there. Then eventually was like, gotta find something better.
Yeah.
Went to go work at Rainforest Cafe in Disneyland or downtown Disney. And started working there. And eventually left that place. My buddy at the time, well, I still talk to him to this day. He started working for this company out in, I think it's Yerba, and it was like a roofing supply company, you know. They sold a bunch of roofing material. So went there and started working there, and my first check was like $800 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That to me at the time was so much money.
Yeah.
You know. But it was always like hard labor. Like I've always had like some kind of labor job because of working. My mom had a house cleaning business, and that's not
easy work.
It's not easy work. It's a lot of work, and so I got that job, and I was like, I need something better.
Yeah.
Worked for another company that was similar, but paid me more money, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go work for them. And then eventually, I was still not doing photography at the time or just labor work at the time. But behind my head, I still had this thing where like, I want to help, you know, I want to do something that helps people. And I just continued doing labor work and never found that one place where like I can help people. And I never had anybody around me that had like trades at the time.
Yeah.
I was still young. I was still like 18 while I was still going through all this shit. Eventually got that job. Had a motorcycle accident. I was doing good financially. I was like 18, bro. My credit was so good.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna go get myself a Harley. No. Now I have a Harley, but at the time I wanted to get a sport bike.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna go get a sport bike. I'm walking in the dealer. I'm barely like 18 years old. I think I was like 19. I'm walking inside the dealer, and I'm like, I want that one, you know? And that guy's like, how old are you? Do you even have a license? And I was like, no, but I got the money, you know? Like, I want that bike. But I didn't pay it cash. I eventually financed it. So I got the sport bike. I felt so cool, bro. I was like, hell yeah, you know? I'm working, doing labor work and making money, and got the sport bike, started riding that thing, bro. I had so much fun. I think I had it for like 2 years, because I think it was a year or two. I'm not really entirely sure, but eventually I had an accident, set me back big time.
Yeah.
I ended up turning, I had it for 2 years because I was 21 at the time. I was finally legal to drink. So, I had an accident, near-death experience. So I eventually ended up.
So yeah, your accident was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad, bro. But I was like in a coma for like a month. Like, I woke up in the hospital. Like, what the? They say that a few times. I woke up and that I was trying to take things off. Like, what the hell, you know? Eventually, I woke up. And I was like, I looked at myself, and I was connected to all kinds of like wires, IVs and stuff. Looked around, and I was just like, and my mom's screaming because I was in a coma for a month, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So they see me, and my mom's like, "Oh my God, he's awake!" You know,
and the nurses and doctors and stuff.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh damn!" So I'm just like, I hear everybody screaming, and I'm just like, the first thing that came to my head was like, I gotta go to work. You know, like, I
got stuff to do.
Yeah, like, I gotta go to work. Like, what happened? You know, and I think that's the last thing I said. I was like, what happened? And I dozed
back
off
out.
again.
Yeah.
So I came back. Doctors and everybody were in shock because I eventually ended up breaking like all kinds of bones, bro.
Yeah.
Like my ribs, my collarbone, my jaw, fractured my skull, my femur. I had a punctured lung, and then so much shit. I had so much.
Yeah.
Things
I remember
that went down.
telling me you were pretty
I was pretty beat.
Yeah, pretty banged up.
And to this day, like my left side of my face, like it's kind of like
numb.
It's dead, bro.
Yeah.
Like I have no feeling. Like I go like this and I don't feel it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then so they had to put like titanium on my jaw, my collarbone, obviously my femur, I think my ankle too. And then recovered from there. It took me like 2 years. So this is where photography comes in, bro. And this is where I was like, I don't want to do labor work anymore. You know, I was like, this is it. Like, I don't want to work hard anymore. Well, not even I don't want to work hard. It's I can't because I'm, you know, kind of came back from a really bad.
It's not easy to suffer from an accident and then go back into doing stuff that you did before. I mean, you can barely walk, let alone, you know, run around trying to do labor work.
So eventually, bro, I was like, I'm not going to be able to stand for a really long time. So I was going online applying for so many jobs. I wouldn't get anything, bro. And I had debt, like collections, all kinds of things. And I was like, I need to pay these things off. And eventually, I had this neighbor. Rest in peace to my neighbor. Called him Sharky. I had this neighbor. So when I was crippled, eventually, you know, the people that would come to your house, like the therapist, or they would come, and eventually it all ended. My previous job didn't want to pay for like continuous. Well, they didn't have to, you know.
Yeah.
But they just my
They cut
insurance was done.
Yeah.
So I had this neighbor, so I was like, you know what? I got to get back in shape. Like, I got to do this. So I'll go and go. I had a walker at the time, bro. So I'd go in my walker, and my neighbor would always be doing mechanic work.
Yeah.
That dude was so good with his hands, bro. His buddies would always pull up to the house, and Honda Civics. He'll be fixing Honda Civics. And then I'll be seeing him and be like, what up, neighbor? You know? Because I wasn't really that close with him at the time. But I would always go up to him. You know, I had nobody else to talk to during the time because my mom was working.
Yeah.
Bro was at home, but I think he was working at the time. Not entirely sure. But I was by myself. I finally could wipe my own ass pretty much.
Then you can get out of the house.
I can get out the house, walk around, you know? So I would always talk to my neighbor. My neighbor's like, yo, that's right. Like, you got your walker again. You know, like, you're doing your thing. And I was like, yeah, I got to get better, bro. I got to get back to work. So I'd just be chilling with him. And I had eventually grew this bond with him. Because he's like, he would be like, yo, do your exercise, bro. You know, like, he'll be looking out. He's such a cool kid, you know.
Staying on top of you to make sure you're doing your stuff.
Yeah, and I'll be like, you good? And he'll be like, yeah, I'm good. And eventually, my brother's ex-girlfriend had bought a camera, right? And I paid no attention to it at the time. She bought a camera, and my brother just had it sitting there, right? And I'm still not good. So I you know, at the time we had a Chevy, 1965 Chevy Impala. Beautiful car. And we wouldn't drive it as much. We just had it in the driveway. It was my brother's. So we wouldn't drive it as much, and we just had it there. So I picked up the camera one day, you know? And my neighbor was so in love with it. He was like, bro, what's up with that Impala, bro? You just have it sitting there, you know? So I was like, yeah, bro. Like, so one day we're all hanging out. My buddy's hanging out. My neighbor's hanging out, Sharky, and then my brother. And I grabbed the camera, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't even messed with the camera at all, bro. Like, I haven't done anything with it.
Yeah, you're picking up blind,
and
not knowing.
I'm just grabbing it, doing my thing, and it was on auto, so it obviously doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about cameras. So I grabbed it, and I caught this perfect angle, like, of the car.
Yeah.
And that's what just set it off, because everybody that I'll show that picture to was just like, dude, that is amazing. Like, that's beautiful. And that gave me some kind of inspiration, like holy shit, bro, like I didn't know nothing and I caught this photo.
Yeah.
You know? And then eventually I started getting little tips from my bro, because my brother was like, he loved social media, so he was on Instagram finding little glitches like apps where you throw effects onto videos and doing stuff like that. So he kind of taught me how to edit a little bit my photos. So I started inputting that into my photos and started going from there. And I was like, bro, I got to learn this. I got to learn the trade. Like I have this like
itch you got to just
yeah,
learn
like it gets me happy to this day, bro, because I'm just like, damn, like.
And that's the photo you're talking about. That's the one that's on your Instagram, right?
Yeah. So I was doing that, and eventually my neighbor passed away. So my neighbor, before he passed away, he was the one that gave me, like, you know, because we were always like, we would never be the type to like filter while we talk about.
Yeah.
Like it was always like straight up like, bro, like that shit, it sucks.
Yeah.
So he was the main one. Like he was like, damn, bro, those photos are dope, you know. And he came out in one of them, and he's like, he kept telling me like, bro, keep doing it, bro. And then other people around me were just like, you know, like for example, your family and stuff like that. They're obviously not gonna, like, maybe just because they're your family, but they're not gonna be like, oh damn, you're good, you know, continue doing it. Like I didn't have a support system besides the neighbor, you know. And then eventually I was just like, you know what, I'm going for it. Eventually when I got better, got a job, I invested in camera gear. You know, I invested in camera gear and continued to do it. And then more and more people. And you even have a big part in it, bro. You have a big part in this. Like, you know, from like working at the shop, started shooting for, eventually I had a platform which was Dirtbags, you know, working for or going to Dirtbags and shooting his bikes, shooting Mikey Loco's bikes. And that just gave me more, like, you know, like, let's continue doing it. Yeah. And you would also tell me, bro, like, you know, continue doing it, bro. Like, your photos look sick, you know?
Yeah, there's one thing to know how to use the camera gear, right? There's one thing to know how to, you know, change all the you know, the things that are inside the camera. Mm-hmm. But you can teach that to people, right? They can learn, you know, how to focus, whatever it may be. But you can't teach how to get an angle. Yeah. Like you either have the eye for it or you don't. Like that's what I've always told you. Like you have the eye. Like you get angles that people don't think about. Like you know, it's either like, most people think of like straight on or this side. Like you hit angles that I didn't even think would even look good, and then you see the picture and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's freaking badass. Like I didn't even think of it. I wouldn't even thought about that. You know what I mean? So I think that's the non-teachable part of, I think, photography that you got. You know what I mean? Like I said, you can, you know, when you didn't know anything, like, you can put it on auto and it'll, you know, if you put it on auto and give it to me, and I guarantee you I won't have a sick picture like that. You know what I mean? Like, it may be okay, but it ain't going to be nothing that's like, you know, nothing that's crazy. But for you, it's like, you know, you got that thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So I try to be better at my creativity, but I also do fight with my inner thoughts. Like, I doubt myself too much. Like, I'll be like, there's better people out there. But then I'll be like, you know, I'll be fighting with my own head, bro. I'll just be like, bro, just continue doing your thing, you know? And eventually I try to implement, like, because I was like, I can make money off this, you know? I obviously don't do certain, like, weddings. I don't do weddings still to this day. I've done little small stuff. But there's great money in it. Like, you could charge a good amount. Yeah. And it blows my mind because it's like photography, never knew you could live off photography, you know? And, I get side gigs. Like sometimes I go out and do a photo shoot for about an hour. I just charge them like $80, you know? But at first I wasn't. Yeah. At first I was not charging. At first I had to keep continuing to this day. I still hear it, like, bro, charge for your photography because you're good. But then there's the other side where I'm like, no, I don't. You know.
I think it's also a hard transition too because initially you're doing stuff for free because you want to get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're doing the jobs. Is like, oh, I need to hone my craft. I want to become better.
Yes.
And I think that's the hard part is once you do that for so long, then it's the points where like you almost feel uncomfortable even asking for money, right? Like it's like even though you know like I should be charging for this, but like you know, you kind of get that weird situation, which I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, like, it's a craft. It's just like anybody else. Just like a welder would, would work to weld up a bracket for somebody. Like, you're not just gonna expect them to do it for free. You're gonna expect them to, you're paying them you're paying them for that knowledge and how to do it.
Yeah, and that's where like where I've sometimes like example, like I try to better my craft. Like I'm like I need to hit a certain level for me to be able to charge a certain amount. And then there's like people that will be like, nah, bro, you're good. Like just charge whatever you're gonna charge for your time, And I'm still fighting with myself, but this is where like the reason why I don't charge a lot is because I was like I want to implement how to help somebody. So this is where my thing that I wanted to do as a kid, like help people in some way. There was a time where I wanted to be an occupational therapist. I was like, I want to be an occupational therapist and help people that can't walk and stuff like that, Well,
especially after going through an accident too, like
so
seeing what someone did for you. Because I had like. I mean, some people, they may not know, but I had a motorcycle accident also, and when I broke my leg, and I had the same sort of thoughts. It was like, dude, like I want to be able to do that for somebody too, because having them like they get excited. It's crazy because they get excited for you when you get to do stuff, and it's like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? It's cool. Like it's a good feeling to have them helping you, and then you feel good. It's like it's a crazy feeling. So I know what you mean.
I wanted to do that, but it just my path didn't end up going that direction. So I was just like.
I mean, it may not be going down the path you necessarily wanted, but you could always come back around. You know what I mean? Destination may still be the same.
Yeah, but photography, like, when you're younger and you want to find your passion, like you're looking for people at a certain age, like look for a certain, for an end goal, pretty much, I guess you can say, where they're like, what am I good at? Find your niche. And photography, and I don't know if it's messed up to say, but like a passing of a friend helped me find that passion. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's I mean,
like
that's a cool way, I guess. Like not a cool way in a sense of the like how he was with you. Like you said, you guys had no filter, so it was like. If your picture sucked, he was going to tell you, hey, bro, like, put the camera down, dude, it ain't for you. But, he was, obviously he was telling you the things were good. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like, you're almost, almost in honor of him.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, like, that was just, like, it just sparked everything up for me.
Or that little fire inside.
It just sparked everything up for me. And I was just like, I found this passion. I get happy when I, when I grab the lens. Like, when I grab the camera, there's just no feeling I could explain. It's like me riding my Harley, bro. When we ride our bikes, it's like that adrenaline rush. You're just like, I gotta get this moment, bro. And I start getting creative, and I get stuck in there. It's just like, and I make money off doing it sometimes, But also, I want to like my thing for photography that what I try to implement. This is why sometimes I do more of lifestyle for like shoot. Because there are moments you can't get back.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of people don't think much of photography, but now that I do it, I'm like, I respect photographers, bro, because it's like the amount of work,
like you said too,
that you put.
You're capturing a moment in time.
It's just like you can't get those moments back, bro. People.
What you got, Alex?
And exactly like you're saying, though, is like I've seen, because I've actually gone with him on shoots too, and I can kind of see there's a little bit of a fight for wanting to charge or not, or how much exactly.
Yes.
And I know with some of your more recent work, and maybe you can go ahead and elaborate on it, but again, that's geared towards helping people and wanting to do a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And you definitely do have that eye, exactly like he's saying, and it blows my mind, like, because I kind of started getting into it a little bit, but more on the video side.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from you in the 2-3 hours that I've kind of just helped hold the camera and give you equipment and stuff. So yeah, man, it is awesome though.
Yeah,
I think it's crazy. I think in any real like entrepreneurship style like craft like that, may it be photography, anything you're kind of doing by yourself, and then that you're trying to learn. Like, I think a lot of people go through that struggle of when to charge, how much to charge, all that stuff too. Like for me, I did personal training for a little while. I worked at a big box gym, and then I did some on the side. I got to a point to where I realized that the knowledge that I had for it was beyond beyond the people that I was talking to, and it's only because I studied it. Like I loved it. I studied it. I knew what it was. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I got to a space where I was just like, this is what I'm going to charge, and I'm not. If they don't want my help, I'm sorry, but that's on you. I know what I'm worth. My time, that 1 hour that I'm going to spend with you, you're gonna get your money's worth. Yes. But it took time for me to get to that point of that confidence level that I was like, I knew what I was doing. Like like everything was down pat. I knew my thing, and I knew what it was, and it was just like I was that confident. I finally got to that point where I was that confident, where this is what it is, and that's how it's going to go down. If you don't want my help, I'll go to the next person. The next person's gonna, it's gonna be the same thing. But it's not easy. Like it's a hard transition to go from just helping or just learning to, okay, I'm not just gonna do this as a hobby. I want to make this my career, and now I gotta make some money. Like, and like, again, you're getting paid for your knowledge and your time. Like, you put in the work, and it's, some people may think like, oh, I'm paying you, whatever, like $80 for an hour, and it's like, no, you're paying me $80. Like, you had me for an hour, but you're paying me for the years of knowledge that I've gained, not just that hour, like all the knowledge that I've gained this whole time. But I think that's a super valid like battle. I think a lot of people go through it.
I still go through it on a daily basis. Like, when I get a client and they're like, how much for this, and I'm just, the good person comes out and it's like, I'll look out for you. I speak to them and I get to know them, and I'm just like, I like you as a person. I'll do it for cheap. I try to help people out in that direction, because photographers, it's expensive. You can make money off it, and there's photographers that are like pros already, and then you could have an amateur who is not that good, but still his craft is way better than that pro. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm fighting in between. I'm like, bro, like, this guy's a pro, and I could do a way better job than that, But
he already has like his name on, like, his almost has like a reputation already.
So you got to know people as well, You got to make your connections, but as well, you got to have the ambition to just push forward, and that's where I'm at now. But to be more informational, the way I learned the camera was going online. I said, what does this do? What does this do? And I had the passion for it, and I was like, yo, I need to get better. So that's when I started learning all these different stuff the camera does, from like ISO, aperture, all that stuff.
How to adjust all that.
And it's all sense. I'm all self-taught. I never had anybody who was like, look, bro, or had somebody who was gonna teach me. Now that I'm at a certain level, now I take courses online, like, to learn different, more, I guess you can say, more of like lighting. Like, it could be a sunny day and you want the picture to come out bright, but just
not oversaturated. Or whatever,
like, get the person you're photographing, you want to get them still to come out perfect. That's where I'm at right now, learning those things,
like, more like specific, like,
but you can consider me more like an amateur to this day. But I learned everything on myself. I didn't go to school or nothing. I was just like, I have the passion for it and I want to learn it. YouTubed it. Went on different websites to learn different things of the camera and just did it myself. And, you know, when somebody goes, hey, I have a family party, can you, like, photograph it? It'll be like $80.
Yeah.
I'll be there for, like, an hour or two, you know?
Take some good pictures and then
take some good pictures. And, you know, people that are not really into photography can think, like, one snap, oh, that's a great picture, you know? But there's more things implemented into photography than people really think.
It ain't easy. There's a lot to it if you've ever tried to do it. I've tried a few times, not at a professional level, not like for anybody ever, but just to, like, you know, being out and just trying to, like, capture certain moments, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like, you almost have to be watching the whole time, looking at what's going on, like almost anticipating what's going to happen so you can take that picture. It's crazy.
This is why I'm still staying out of weddings, because weddings is that perfect. I know if I do a wedding, I can nail it. But I'm probably gonna sit there and be like, I could have done a better job, you know.
And it's hard too, because, like, someone, like, I mean, you hope to get married once, right? And so you're trying to capture that for that person. Yeah. And, like, I can understand where that might be a little. Oh,
maybe I need to get married first before, so I can be like, I need to get this,
yeah.
You know.
Then you'll know everything you need to get, and then you're like, all right, cool, I can do this.
Yeah, now. Hell yeah. I think that's what has to happen, bro. But yeah, bro, everything is self-taught, and a lot of people that want to be photographers, like, there's a lot coming out now. Like, I go on social media and, like, everybody's a photographer, you know.
There's definitely a lot more, especially with YouTube. There's a lot more videography and photography now than I think there's been.
Yeah, and I respect it, because it's like at first it was like very, like, there's a point where photography was not really a big thing at some point, and now it's like the youth now, 2021, there's like, you can find photographers anywhere, you know, and it's cool because, you know, they be capturing pictures that you'll never get, you know. You'll never leave moments from people. Like, that's my biggest thing when I do photography. When somebody says, come to my birthday party or something, like, I get extra excited when I go, because I'm like, yo, I need to capture the good moments, you know. And I recently did a photo shoot for Cherry, and she's fighting cancer. Mm-hmm. She's fighting cancer, and I admire her because she has this thing where, like, she's not letting it ruin her life, you know. Living. And I got to meet her, and I was like, she is dope. Like, I want to have that, you know, like that. Because like I said, I fight with my inner thoughts. Like, everybody does, you know. There's a point where people are, like, thinking, like, damn, what I got going for myself, you know, stuff like that. And now I have this thing where I tell myself, like, stop, like, in rated R term, or not rated R, but like PG-13, like, stop being a wuss. Yeah. Like, stop being a wuss and just go for whatever you're gonna do. Yeah. And I've always been like that, but there's times where I fight myself. And she gave me this thing where, like, now where, like, if I'm having a bad day, I'll be like, bro, stop being a wuss, bro, like this, you know? Like, I think of her, like, she's living life. She's going through all that, bro, and she's living life. She's like, you know, I'm sure she has her times and stuff, but she thanks to her, like, I push forward with what I want to get, you know? Yeah. Or what I want to do.
I think, too, like, the more mature you get, and like, as far as, like, the older you get, like, you almost, like, naturally you start taking less risks. Like, when you're younger, you're kind of wild, right?
People fear risk.
You don't have that fear when you're younger, you know. Like, maybe it was doing the 12 stairs on your skateboard or whatever like that. Like, you look at them stairs now, and there ain't no way in the world you would do it.
I'll still nail them.
You go right ahead, bro. I don't even try it. I'm not even, bro. I want to walk tomorrow. Yeah. I'm not even trying to mess around. But as a kid, you don't have as much of that. But I think once you hit a certain, I don't know if it's maturity or a certain age, you start having those little, like, you get that fear where it's like, well, I don't necessarily know if I don't know if I want to do that. Like you start second guessing yourself, and you don't, it's crazy. Some people, I mean, I don't know if everybody does that. Like I know for me, the older I've gotten, the more it's like the responsible person wants to be there.
Yeah, I think
you know what I mean. It's like, oh, I would love to do that, but I really got to go to work. Like I got to make money. Like I got to do this. Like you stop yourself from doing it because you have all these other like excuses or things you have to take care of.
I think it is. So as you get older, you get more responsibilities. People get older and they have responsibilities, so now they can't risk to be doing certain things they used to do when they were younger. So, but I'm the opposite, bro. I could be 30, I could be like 40, 50, and if I feel like I can still do those stairs, bro, I'm going for it. But now
more power to you,
man. And that's the mindset I want to keep having to, like, because thankfully, I don't live on my own. I'm very family oriented. So me leaving my mom or anything like my parents and stuff, like, like for me to leave my household, to me it's like it's a big step.
It's a big deal, yeah.
So my goal is like buy a house and just bring them with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of way I see things, but I think, as you get older, bro, I think it's just the responsibilities.
It's funny. You have that family-oriented thing. And when I was like 19, I mean, my mom pretty much told me, if you're not working, you're not going to school, you're not living here.
Yeah, I met a lot of people like that.
It was just like, but for me, it was probably the best thing she could have done. Because like, I was really just a lazy ass that was not doing anything, just hanging out with friends and skateboarding and doing this and doing that. Literally had nothing going for myself, so thankfully, or not thankfully, I don't know if I should thank her for kicking me out, but in a sense she kicked me out, and it made me grow up a little bit. It made me realize that okay, I need to start doing some things. Yeah, I need to start doing some things for myself and get going. So I want to touch on some things that I don't know if you have anything in your mind as far as what you wanted to do, but I know you mentioned working with photography and helping people. Have you put anything else into like what that could possibly look like? Because I can see something just from me outside looking in and kind of seeing the things that you've been doing recently. Like I can almost see something as far as like I don't know if it could be like a nonprofit or something like that, where like that's literally what you're doing is capturing these moments for these people that let's just say they're not able to afford it or not able to do anything like that. Like I don't know how all that stuff works or how nonprofits work, but is that like, I don't know, is that something that might be in the future for you?
Well, I never thought ahead. I never thought that ahead, or I never had that. I never thought about stuff like that, but I don't know. That's a good question, bro. Like I've never.
I'm a planner. I plan shit out.
I've never gone that far just yet, because once I put something up in my head of an end goal, like I just stay there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like my next step is getting a studio. Like that is my main thing.
Yeah.
And then start buying more equipment and going for it. But as in that just gave me a spark, bro. I'm gonna be honest. It's just
I would just like I said, just from knowing what you've been doing lately, and then I mean I didn't know about the altar boy, and you enjoying helping people like that. I didn't really know that part of it, but it just like kind of connecting those two dots. It's like, well, is there a thing you can do where, like I said, I don't know much about the nonprofit organizations and stuff like that. I don't know if there's a place for that to fit in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there is. Maybe there's
it could be a new thing.
Maybe there's a thing there that you might be able to work out where you can work with. I don't know. Maybe it's the hospitals. Maybe it's certain places where that's what you're doing. Like you're capturing these moments of these people that are, either less fortunate or whatever it may be. I don't know. Whatever it may be.
Well, there is a thing like where before like I feel like I can make money off doing this. But like you said, like I'm trying to better my craft, and then once I get to a certain level, that's where I'm going in hard. Like where I'm gonna lose all the fear and just take all the risk. I'm just gonna
go for it.
Go somewhere, Could be like you said, hospitals, auto shops, anything. Just like, here's my business card, photographer, and just throwing my name out there.
Well, the cool thing is you're gonna have a pretty solid resume with the amount of photos that you're taking and all that.
Oh,
like, I mean, you're gonna have
bro.
a pretty. Your portfolio is gonna be a pretty big.
If we sat here today, bro, and you're like, let's get all your photos and put them all in one book, like it.
Yeah. Well, I guess I know Alex has some where we're gonna get to him right now, but have you ever thought about doing like an online portfolio where it literally just has a bunch of photos?
So I'm thinking of doing a website where people can just go on there, and then they could see my work, and then they could just hit a button where like make appointment, contact, email, all that. And I'm still working on that. So yeah, so you
got some stuff. You got some stuff in the works.
I got stuff planned. Like if anybody's ever looking to do photography, you obviously got to have a portfolio, because everybody looks at portfolios. I never thought people were gonna be like, hey, can I see your work?
Yeah,
let me see your work.
Yeah.
And obviously people want to see your work, and then from there people are gonna start accessing you. You're gonna have to go out there yourself and put your name out there. And be like, yo, this is my name. I do photography. So you got to put the effort in going out there and doing the work. So obviously that's where the website comes in. Be like, come check me out.
Yeah.
And just real quick, for the website thing and a couple other little business parts, we'll talk after, because I actually have a couple examples of something you might like to see. But you really do need to start charging for that work, man. Like you took these 2 photos of, they were like classic cars, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. And
no, the 2 recent ones that
yeah, there's like this blue one that's just like, it's mesmerizing how good it is. And growing up, we always had like car magazines, motorcycle magazines around the house, and don't get me wrong, those are great pictures for their time. I'm seeing something I never seen before. You know what I'm saying? So this, some of the stuff that you're doing, and I'm not just trying to like hype you up or nothing. Exactly. But
just being honest. Yeah.
You have this eye, like he's already said. It's now about how far do you want to take it, and you're saying you want to get that studio and get that rolling. I really believe like that is the next step. Yeah, I'm
pushing for it, and I know I'm gonna have it. It's just I gotta put my own effort into going that full for. I have a regular job,
Yeah.
I do labor work. I go work with step pops. We do concrete. We do tile, everything, And I do that to be able to invest that, or obviously pay my bills, but aside, invest in more of my craft.
Yeah.
And just
get more equipment. Get what you need to get to.
And I also work for the school district, the Irvine School District. So I do custodial work, and I work there, and I make the extra money, and eventually, let's say I end up getting a full-time job. Like I back myself up as well. Because like you said, you get older, you have bills. Like you gotta find.
Gotta have that safety net. Almost.
You gotta have that safety net, and it's I don't risk it all, bro. But
I mean, it's hard to when you get older. I mean, you start realizing, I mean, I don't know about you, but like in high school, I didn't realize how much credit mattered. Like no one ever told me like if you have bad credit, you can make, $150,000 a year, but if you have bad credit, like, sorry, you're not really gonna get anything. Like,
and
people hard to buy a car, you're gonna get a high APR. Like, no one ever say anything about that.
Like people growing up too, like people coming out straight out of high school, like not even people that are like older don't even know stuff about, credit. And like credit is a really big, like if you don't have money to back yourself up, a big chunk of money to back yourself up, you could always use credit. And a lot of people don't know anything about credit.
Well, then like I said, if you can have a lot of money but horrible credit. And at that point, you're gonna like your percentages and your APR is gonna be out of the roof.
Now, if you have both,
if you have both, then you're golden.
You're golden, right? Bro.
You got some money. Even if you have really good credit and you got a decent amount of money, you're good. You know what I mean?
Like having credit can take you a really long way. It really can. Like getting a loan to start a business, stuff like that. And it's a good thing to learn.
Well, that's really what I'm like. But part of doing this podcast and part of kind of what me and Alex are doing is like in high school, I feel like some of these things should be taught.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you should learn how to manage money.
Yeah.
Like, high school is supposed to prepare you or help prepare you for the world, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, some people go to college, some people don't. Even in college, they don't necessarily. I mean, you could take accounting classes, but that's to like do accounting for a business. It's different than, you know, different than self-managed money or something like that. And not talking about credit, like, you know, there's just a lot of things I think high school can do to help the average, you know, student prepare themselves for what they're going to experience. You know, I think with that, with, you know, learning about money, how to manage money, how to do credit, starting businesses, because let's be honest, in this day and age, like, it's fairly easy to start a business.
It is, bro.
It's not
big time.
It may not be easy to do the business that you're trying to start.
Yeah.
But to get it going, like to start it initially, do the paperwork and all that, it's fairly easy to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it may be a grind, or, you know, it may be for a headache to do whatever it is.
There's even banks or investors that will back you up, and, you know.
And there's a lot of things that you can do that were not taught. Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of different paths, which is, you know, photography. I know they have photography classes in high school. Mm-hmm. I remember I took one, but they really only focused on literally just the craft of it, like taking black and white photos or taking this or taking that.
Yeah,
it wasn't
film and all that.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like you could do this as a career type of thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
so when you were sorry to break you up.
No, you're good.
Like in high school, did they teach you like all that ISO, aperture? And...
to be completely honest with you, I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember. I don't think I really paid that close attention to it.
Now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, I wish I had photography.
I mean, I remember they offered it. I don't even remember if, like, it was only. I think I only took it for a little bit of time.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't something that I was like. I wasn't really into it at the time. Mm. I was more into like the backside of things, like the editing, like video, or like learning how to. I used to know how to run a soundboard for like a full like play for like a stage, and like lighting. I used to know how to do all that stuff. I was more curious about that, like not necessarily being the guy with the camera, but I mean, I remember taking it, but I remember them not talking about anything to do with it being a career. It was literally just like. Yeah. Take a picture of this vase.
That's
you know crazy. What I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
You know what I really had interest in too? Like when I was in high school, I obviously went to like a continuation, which thank God I went to a continuation because I graduated. Yeah. But just the teachers that work at continuation gave me more of like, you know, they would talk to you like you're an adult. It's not like high school where it's just like a bunch of kids come in. You go into your period class, and the teacher does not know who the hell James or you know who the hell you are. Going to continuation now, I don't say like kids go to continuation, but that really helped me because they, believe it or not, they had way better programs like education wise.
They were almost setting you up more for the life skills.
Yeah, and I really learned more. Like. I had this one teacher, right? And the dude's like, yo, well, how old are you? And I'm like, 18. He's like, well, because I turned 18, like, right when we're about to graduate. Yeah. And he would, you know, I was like, oh, I'm going through financial stuff. Got to help moms pay rent or something. Yeah. He's like, go work at McDonald's. Did you know you could work at McDonald's at this age? Like 16, I think I was at the time, or 17, you know? And I was like, no way. And he's like, yeah, go work there, bro. You right? Because the continuation that I went to, it would be you'll go in early in the morning, and then you'll go to lunch. Lunch would be at 11, and you can leave. Yeah. You could leave campus. It's up to you if you want to come back. Yeah. I always came back. Like, I came back, and they would teach me, like, that teacher, I thank him to this day because he told me a bunch of, like, adult stuff. Yeah. Like, go work there, make your money, you know. You come here to class, do your thing. And he always had this adult thing with me. And me being a mature, like, I wouldn't even hang out with the kids. Like, no. It was always, like, I always had this thing, like, I feel like I'm not at level with kids my age because I feel like I was way more mature than them. And eventually was working at McDonald's. That was my first job. Quit that. They left that for a better job.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on too, is that when you talked about leaving McDonald's and going to the Italian place. Mm-hmm. Like, your thought wasn't just, I want to leave McDonald's and go to this Italian place. It was, I got to step up, and that place is busier.
Yes.
Always like, it was, that place is busier. Like, I know they got more money. I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
And then you went from there, and then I think you said, was it the Rainforest Cafe after that?
Rainforest Cafe.
And you're going to downtown Disney, which is obviously going to have way more people there, too. So, every step you were methodical. It wasn't just to leave to go for whatever, like it was for more money or the aspiration to make more money, and you actually thought about how that was going to happen.
Yeah, and I noticed that there's a lot of people that came out, like people that I graduated with, or like just in general, like in high school. I see it a lot. Like, I work as a custodian at a school, right? And the kids, their maturity level ain't there. So long story short, it's like they never have this thrive, like they get a job and nobody ever thinks like I had a job interview recently, right? And I don't want to say the company, but I went to this job interview because obviously COVID messed a lot of things up and schools were closed, so I couldn't work there. And then labor work kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
And went to this job interview and was like, I'm going to apply there because I don't think COVID kind of hit that spot that much, like financial-wise, because people need these things like waters, like juices, sodas, like. So I applied there and I'm like, damn, these guys for sure have year-round work.
Yeah.
Applied there. And I met the employees, like I never ran into a spot like that. It would interview you. So you would go into the interview and then they do the interview and they'll be like, hey, can you stay for an hour and meet the guys out in the back? Like who's working, right? She's like, so you could take a tour on how things work around here, right?
I mean, I get it, but I don't think I've ever.
Yeah, I never experienced, but I was like, that's pretty cool because they're going to show you the whole, and now I've always had that thing like, show me what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, show me that. Let me see back there first before I say yes.
Yeah, show me what I'm gonna get into, bro. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, can you stay for like about an hour and check it out? So I went to the back, and there was these young cats, all dudes, and they're driving the forklifts, right? And they were telling me like, where you used to work at before, They started kind of interrogating me.
Yeah.
Like what you used to do, trying to get to know me. And I was just like, oh, I do this. And I brought up, I was being honest, because I never faked the funk with people around me, bro. I was just like, I'm honest. And I told them of what I want to do. So I put goals. I was saying goals while they're interrogating me, telling me like what I used to do before. And I'm like, oh, honestly, well, I'm trying to work, trying to make money because I got stuff to pay. And, I'm also trying to get my Class A, telling them stuff, like putting goals up there, telling them I'm a photographer, blah, blah, blah. What I'm trying to get at is these kids had no ambition, bro. Like they were just like dead on stuck there, and a lot of people are like that during certain jobs, bro, where they're just like, they have no angle, bro.
No
they're
drive,
just,
no nothing.
No, they were just like, oh, well. They started telling me towards the end, like, hey, bro, like, we want somebody who's going to work, and not just come work here for, like, a few months and then leave. And started telling me stuff like that. And I'm trying to, like, oh, nah, bro, well, I'm here for good, like, because I figured that eventually whatever I said, they're going to go tell the guy. And I guess they were going to be the main source if I get hired. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, bro, well, I'm here. I'll be probably here for 2-3 years, like just trying to tell him like, hey, bro, like, cause I'm honestly just trying to work.
Yeah.
But what really shocked me was like, these guys are like stuck. Like they have no ambition to do anything,
They're happy. They are not, I want to say, they're so complacent. Like, they're complacent. They're there. They show up. They have a job. They're comfortable.
But I think what plays a part is that risk that you're talking about. Yeah. Because they did say, like, I have, we all have kids, And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So, like, these guys are just working but, I mean, I know if I had a kid, I would probably push harder than I'm pushing now.
There is a point to where, yes, when you have a kid, I mean, it's scary. I mean, I just had my second kid, and it's like, I mean, you have to take care of your kids. Like, you have to feed them, buy them diapers, take care of them. Like, everything. Literally, it's on you, right? So that, that's the next, like, level up for maturity, right? Like, and now you have, I have 2 humans I have to take care of and make sure they're good. It's not like, but at the same time, knowing that, it is also, and for me, it's also made me realize that I need to take the risks. Because yes, you can be comfortable and you can make money, but at the same time, like, you can make money and you can work your ass off and work 50, 60-hour work weeks and not see your kids or family. Or you can take some calculated risks, learn some things, build some things up, and then be able to draw that back and maybe have, a 40, maybe a 30, 20-hour work week, and you get to spend more time with your kids and your family and do the things that you enjoy. So I think there is a sense of, like, yeah, it's hard. Like, it I don't know, maybe it's just 2 different types of people, but that almost made me have more strength to take a little bit of risk, because it's like, if I do this, I can set my family up for this. Yes. You know what I mean? What you got?
And, it's funny because you're talking about how, like, they're just complacent and stuff, and you talked to me about 2-3 years ago, you're talking to those same people, man. I had no ambition to do anything else besides clock in and clock out. I started at a good company. I'm still there. I get paid well. Why would I ever really want to do any kind of side hustle or anything? Barring COVID, some people lost their jobs. Now they're just realizing, oh man, maybe I should have had a side hustle. But
yeah, bro,
it's crazy when you just don't have that ambition. Nothing's pushing you to move forward. And I was almost married at one point, so that even pushed me to take less risk and all that kind of stuff. And now it's like I'm at this precipice where I'm ready to jump and keep taking risks and keep doing new things. Part of why I'm on the podcast. And now it's just like, what's the next step? What's the next move? And now I'm kind of in that mindset more so than clock in, clock out.
Yeah, I feel you, because a lot of people have that, like I don't want to have a 9 to 5, and people that sometimes they just get stuck in their world. Like,
I think it's easy. I mean, I was, from 21 till I was 30, I was at the same company, and I moved around a little bit within that company. I did a lot of different jobs, but literally I turned 21 when I worked there, and that was right around the time my mom kicked me out the house, and I had to find something. So I ended up moving down to Long Beach with my dad. Yeah. And I needed a job, right? I needed a job. I need to make money. I ended up sending them my resume like 4 times to this company, and I finally got hired. I didn't even realize I sent it to him 4 times, but apparently I did, and I bugged him enough. But they got me on there. It was warehouse work, driving a forklift at night, same sort of thing. And literally, I was just there to make money. All I cared about. Like, I had no other, like, there was no other, I want to do this, I want to do that. Literally, I was like, okay, I need to get some cash in my pocket. Well, then it's crazy because I could blink my eyes, and like 9 years later, I was still at that same company. I mean, I went from nighttime to forklift to daytime to in the office to this to that to that. And I worked my way up, and I made a this is a sad thing, I made a little bit more money. Like, it wasn't substantial for being there for 9 years. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't what it should have been. But finally I'm lucky that I had a boss that I did that kind of called me out and was like, you're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, what do you want to do? But in my head, I'm like, well, you guys are the same way with me. Like, you guys aren't paying me. Like, I'm worth more money, and you guys aren't even giving me that. But he's kind of like, well, we're not doing that because you don't know what you want. I'm like, I've been here for 9 years. I'm not showing you that I want to be here. And then it all clicked. Like, no one cares anything about, like, they're not going to pay me just because I've been there for 9 years. They want me to be like the slave to that company. But at the same time, it's like, you could have helped me. You could have given me money. But the whole, if you're loyal to a company, they'll take care of you, is out the window. That doesn't happen nowadays. And vice versa. If companies aren't loyal to people anymore. It's just not there. Like, the facts are nowadays, which is it's kind of shitty, unless you're in like a really good company, is you have to work for one company for a couple of years, leave that company, go to a different company, and they'll give you more of a raise because you worked here, and then you almost have to jump around like that. And it's like, you know, with trades, which I learned more so later on in life after I worked with that company, with trades it's not like that. It's you basically, you get in, you work your way up, you know, and like you earn money. You know, the more basically the more time you have there, the more you're able to make, you know, an hourly wage. But I it's just crazy thinking about that, because like it's super easy to get stuck. Because I literally don't realize that was 9 years of my life. Like, it was crazy, and I was stuck there until my boss kind of called me out, and then that's when I ended up leaving and actually opening the shop.
Yeah, so you were just stuck on the waking up, doing work, waking up, doing work.
Yep.
And it's true. It's easy to just stay there, and I believe you. And some people that don't realize either, like when I was a young kid, I hated to go to work with my dad. Like, he'll be doing like, you know, simple shit like they'll be doing floors and stuff, you know, like construction.
Yeah.
Home remodeling. And I was a young kid, and I'll be like, man, I don't want to do this, but I wish I would have known, like, bro, if I learned this and I turned 18, I could learn the whole trade and go get my license. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of things that when you're young you don't really realize.
And no one really tells you.
And nobody really tells you. Like, my dad will tell me, but well, I mean, he's my dad. It's my dad,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So, you know, if we were spreading a message here today, it'd be like, bro, if you're doing whatever you're doing and your family's bringing you into certain, it could be from fabricating shoes to like whatever, you know, there's money in that. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Just push, and then you could, like my mom's house cleaning business, right? She owned a house cleaning business. She started that from one house, and she started doing more. It was just like references.
Yeah.
People were like, she's really good. Like,
all like word of mouth.
Right. And then my mom's like, yo, I want to get more houses. So then I was like, Mom, make business cards. And then my mom's like, okay, yeah, let's make business cards, right? Because my mom obviously doesn't speak great English, but she understood a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then she had me where I would go translate. So I always translated her with every new client. And I'd be like, what do you want exactly? And then I'll start getting technical with it where I'm like, okay, you have 3 rooms upstairs. You have 2 rooms downstairs. How many stories is it? And then they'll be like, oh, damn, all right. And then, oh, you want the fridge cleaned? Like, it's just adding stuff up, yeah. Right? And then my mom would be like, oh, damn. It'll be like a lot of money. So there's trade in in everything you can do, bro. You know?
Yeah, I think that's
anything labor. This is why I always stuck with labor. I always grew up doing labor, and I continue to do labor because it teaches you stuff, and it's like you said, like a trade.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And anything that you can get it like it's a trade or like something like that. Yeah, I think there's definitely money to be made. I mean, my first job was digging pools, like. I mean,
bro, I've been watching videos on YouTube of dudes that clean pools. Dude, that shit blows my mind. It blows my mind how they do it, where they put the whole whatever that salt thing is.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
I don't even know, bro. I just dug them. We dug pools, and then we didn't even lay no
you just dug them?
We literally just dug a hole, and then we bounced. And then another company would come in, and they would do everything else.
That's satisfying, bro, watching that stuff.
It's crazy. Like, and I mean, I enjoyed doing it back then, but I never would have. Again, like you, like, I probably could have started my own pool digging business, mm-hmm. right? And I probably could have made pretty good money. The guy that I worked for had a big house. I mean, obviously he had his company.
Yeah.
Bunch of trucks, bulldozers. Like, he had the whole thing. So it's obviously he was doing good enough. But I don't know, just you don't think about that as a kid because you're not told that's a respectable thing, right? Mm-hmm. You're told a respectable thing is to go to college and get a degree. That's how you're going to make your ways. You got to go to college and get a degree. They don't, no one really speaks on, yeah. I mean, you can go outside and mow lawns. Like, you can mow lawns and make a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of YouTube, I watched this guy. He was literally that was like $600 in a day from mowing like like 4 lawns. Like he worked like 4 hours and made like $600.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit! I didn't even know you could do that. Like, I mean, I don't like mowing the lawn, but for $600 in a day, like, I mean, you know what I mean?
I remember, bro. I'll be coming out of school, and I'll be seeing these guys working hard, like cutting the lawn, and I'll be like, damn, I never want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, bro, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, know? Like this kid, this kid I was watching,
money.
he had his thing set up. He was like, I don't like houses next to each other. He's like, I want like a little bit of like maybe like a minute drive so I can get in the truck and turn the air conditioning on so that I get to cool down in the summer. And then by the time I get over there, like I'm ready to get back out and start working again. I'm like, this kid's got it on point. Like he knows what he's doing. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? I might be in the wrong field because $600 for 4 hours sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it would just you know what I mean. Like I mean, he's out there sweating. I mean, it may have been I may be exaggerating a little bit, but it was. I seriously was. He only worked like 4 hours, and it was more than $100 an hour. I remember that it was like $500 to $600 that he made.
Yeah. I did a photo shoot once, and I charged like $200 for an hour.
Yeah,
you know,
and you're not mowing the lawn.
Yeah, all I did was, and then you know, there's tricks to like photo editing. You know, like you spend a whole day finding the filter for your, you know, because I create my filters. I don't go on an app
like the generic stuff.
Yeah, no, I do everything through Lightroom. I do my own thing, save it, get the same picture. I'm like, oh, it looks similar to the other one. Just throw it on there.
Yeah,
you know.
So it makes it a little easier when you're editing.
It makes it easier, bro. You know, but I spend a whole day doing it. You know, like trying to get it right.
But see, and that's also that people don't understand. Like, you're not just paying. They're not just charging you, or you're not just charging them $200 for that 1 hour. It's you're charging them $200 to go out there for an hour, but then to spend a lot of time editing and going through the photos, getting rid of the ones that are just not good. They just didn't come out right or whatever it may be, and cleaning the ones up, doing all that stuff, kind of adding your own touches to it. It's a long time. Like it's not a lot of work. It's not a quick, easy thing to do. You spend a lot of hours, you know, editing and making sure everything looks good for the customer.
To me, it's like I like doing it. So like to me, it seems like it goes quick.
Yeah, like 4 hours of sitting there looking at pictures is like a blink of an eye.
Yeah, for me, like it's just like, oh, it's the next day, but I'm still there. Like, you know, drinking coffee. They're still doing the editing, but I like doing it. You know, and videography. I'm getting into videography, and it's way more intense.
Like, yeah, I've done some.
Like I'm gonna try to use my perfect eye that I have for the camera for like photography and try to implement it in the videography, and it kind of comes out, but it's just like I have this thing where I grab the camera and I try to record a video and I'm just like this. I get nervous when I do videos, bro. Like it's crazy.
It's crazy that you get nervous doing videos, but you don't get nervous doing photos.
Like
That's
to
funny.
photos is just like, oh, cool, you know. Like I take the shot, but videography, I'm like, oh damn, you know when we did that Mayan video, and I'm just like for Richard, and I was like, damn, I even made him come back like 3 times. I felt bad because I was like, you know, and the other dude's like clowning around. He's like, bro, we're gonna have to charge you for this, you know. And I was just like, oh damn, I was so nervous, bro. I was like, can you go back out one more time and do it one more time? He's like, yeah, cool guy, man. And then that was cool, you know. And then when you emailed me too, like you told me like, yo, you're gonna enter, like, let's enter you into this what was it, like the calendar that we yeah, where you're like, hey bro, let's enter your photo, like send me the photos.
The that was the
international
motorcycle show. Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah. So I just sent it to you. Never thought anything of it, you know. I was like, well, hopefully we get picked. Yeah. And then you're like, bro, you got picked, you know. And I was like, holy damn. That was the biggest thing. Like, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and I always want to get a calendar. Never got a calendar.
I don't even think I got one. I don't think I even got one of those.
I was like,
that's funny. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, we submitted like 2 of them, right? With like 2 pictures.
Yeah, and then Mikey Logo eventually got a whole bundle of them.
Yeah.
I was like, let me get one when you get a chance. Never got one,
yeah,
bro.
I don't think I ever got one either.
But it was a big thing. I took a photo of it, and he still has a calendar up.
Yeah, he still has it up in the shop.
It's like that to me was like, holy cow, bro. That was a big thing for me. Like, holy cow, they really liked the photo. You know?
Like I said, bro, like you have, I mean, your eye for it is, like I said, you can teach someone how to use the camera, but you can't teach someone the eye for what they're taking a picture of.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, you can be good, right? Like you can be a good photographer, but some of the shit that you're doing is not just good. Like it's beyond good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to give someone advice that may be seeking what you're doing, maybe they want to be a photographer, what's some advice that something that you've learned up until now that you might want to tell somebody?
Yeah, so like if anybody wants to be a photographer, like you don't, like, believe it or not, like there's some pictures where I've used my iPhone. Like it all started too with my iPhone. The iPhone, and then it's all on the internet. You don't need to go and pay hundreds of dollars to go to a course, you know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're trying to, I'm going to be honest, unless you're trying to build connections. But yet again, you got to go to the right school for you to build connections and go beyond. But if you want to learn photography, you just got to go online and learn everything on the camera. Depending on the camera, Google it. Google is a powerful thing, bro. Like, it's powerful. You can get so much information.
The knowledge is right. Yeah, the information is at your fingertips.
It's right there. You just got to look up what camera you can start off with. You know what I'm saying? And go from there. Like, you buy your first camera, right? Then learn your camera. Learn what the camera does.
Yeah.
You know? And then it just goes from there. Like, everything is online, bro.
And they just got to put it to use, right? Like, you know, don't
put it to use. And photography, I even tell him, because he's gone to a photo shoot with me. And I try to teach him, but, like, I suck at teaching. So I just try to be like,
just watch what I do.
Watch the lighting. Yeah, like, you look, it's too dark. You know, I try to teach him, you know, but he picks up quick. And I was like, for example, photography, bro, like, I learned the way I learned. So it was like, camera was there. I just grabbed it, picked it up. Everybody's vision is different. This is what I tell it when it comes to photography. Yes, you got to know the way things function on the camera, but that's apart from the eye you have.
Yeah.
Everybody, the way I tell them photography is everybody has their eye. Like I tell him, when you take a shot, bro, see it the way you want to see it, and take the shot. And then that's when, then things that you learn throughout the time, then like, got to make sure everything's centered through the frame. You know what I'm saying? Because people, like, for example, be taking a picture of a water bottle, and they'll be like all the way back there, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's an art, bro. It's art. Photography is art.
Yeah.
And whatever you capture, bro, believe it or not, people are like, oh, this photo sucks, but that's the way you see you see it from the frame. Like it's
like you said, it's art.
It's art, and a lot of people, that's why I like photography, bro, because people express their things through photography as well as like for music and everything, you know. But if anybody's looking to do photography, buy your camera, Google all the things your camera does, and learn off it.
No.
You know? And just go from there, and then eventually, like, just start charging. It's $20, $30.
Yeah. Even if it's something small, at least get some money.
I'm still fighting with that, like, charging people, because I have a good heart, and I'm just like, you know what, I like you, you know? You know, I'm not saying, you know, I have bad clients. I've had bad clients where I'm just like, I'm charging you $100. I hope you're ready for this one. Yeah. But eventually I go home, edit the photo, and I'm just like, I'm gonna look out for him. So I start editing them the best I can. But it's art, bro. Yeah. It's art. And if I could like put a message out there, would be like, don't doubt yourself, right? Like, with anything you want to do. Like, I wish I can look like, if I I would probably look at this later, like, and tell myself, like, go out there, bro, and risk it. Go out there and do whatever you want to do, cause life is short, bro. You gotta admire everything around you, from people you meet. And people get stuck in this lifestyle where they just don't, like, meet somebody and it's like, hey, later.
Yeah, like in a little bubble. You get stuck in a bubble.
Yeah, like, people are just so stuck in a lifestyle cycle that they just forget to cherish everything around them, from even drinking the water, drinking the soda, bro. Like, I know people go through so much tragic stuff, or like life things, events, tragedy, and just do whatever you want to do. Just go for it. And eventually people will find their passion towards the end. People will.
I agree. I agree. And I think that's a fucking great spot to stop this one.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on again, brother. We'll see you on the next one.